Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. What day is it now, Deacon?
Today is a day.
Yes, it is. It's Messed Up Murder Monday on a Tuesday. First one was messed. Well, it's most probably going to be a Tuesday. It's like 10:30, and this recording's going to be for like 3/4 an hour. Do you know the first one was on a Saturday? Now Tuesday. Consistent much? Yes.
Oh, yes, we are very consistent. We always get everything perfect.
But today we're doing the Axeman of New Orleans. If you did not know, it is a Axeman from New Orleans.
Yeah, it's
You didn't
crazy.
know that?
He
You didn't
murdered
know
with.
that?
I bet you didn't know he murdered with an axe.
Nah, I thought you murdered with a saw. Right, so Deacon. So the way we're going to do it, Deacon's going to read half the background. I read the other half. Then Deacon's going to read the suspects. And then Deacon's going to then I read the first three victims. Then Deacon's going to read two victims, and then I read two. Then we'll even it out. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Yeah.
But as you're going to say, stop it now.
Oh, okay. Do I start? do I start reading it?
And no, you just sit there for 10 minutes and let people discuss in the comments.
Yes. Everyone can discuss what they think about the Axeman right now.
Well, they can actually comment if they want, but yeah. But bear in mind, there's 6 deaths and 6 injuries
Yes. Okay.
between.
So
Go
I'm
on,
gonna
you speak.
start. I'm gonna
Yeah,
start now.
yeah.
As the killer's epitaph implies, the victims usually were killed with an axe, which often belonged to the victims themselves. In most cases, a panel on the back door was removed, which which was left on the door alongside a chisel, which was most likely used to remove the panel. The intruder then attacked one or more of the residents with either an axe or a straight razor. The crimes were not motivated by robbery, and the perpetrator never removed items from the homes. The majority of the Axeman's victims were Italian immigrants or Italian Americans, leading many to believe that the crimes were ethnically motivated.
Wait, so they were only killing because they were Italian?
Yep.
Great.
It's Chris Pratt,
What?
because Chris Pratt doesn't like Italians.
Oh, okay. Go and rest him.
Okay, that was a bad joke. Okay.
Okay, that's bad as me.
Many media outlets sensationalized this aspect of the crime, even suggesting mafia involvement, despite lack of evidence. Some crime analysts have suggested that the killings were related to sex, and the murderer was perhaps a sadist, specifically seeking female victims. Crimologists Colin and Damian Wilson
That's a big
hypothesized
word, criminologist.
that's a weird word. I've never even heard that before. Hypothesized that the Axeman killed male victims only when they obstructed his attempts to murder women, supported by cases in which the woman of the household was murdered, but not the man. A less plausible theory is that the killer committed the murders in an attempt to promote jazz music.
We'll get later on to that. You'll find out why that's a.
Suggest
You'll understand why attempted to promote jazz music. You'll understand when we read a bit on later. You'll
um,
understand why.
suggested by a letter attributed to the killer in which he stated that he would spare the lives of those who played jazz in their homes. The
Yeah,
Axeman was not
exactly. So,
the Axeman was not caught or identified, and his crime spree stopped as mysteriously as it had started. The murderer's identity remains unknown to this day.
to this day,
To this day, although various possible identifications of varying plausibility have been proposed. On March 13th, 1919, a letter purported to be from the Axeman was published in newspapers, saying that he would kill again at 15 minutes past midnight on the night of March 19th, but would spare the occupants of any place where a jazz band was playing. That night, all of New Orleans dance halls were filled to capacity, and professional and amateur bands played jazz at
oh
parties at
god.
hundreds of houses around town. There were no murders that night.
So I think this is the note. Hell, is it hell? March 13th, 1919. Esteemed mortal. This is the letter. There has been they have never caught me, and they never will. Is correct there. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the either what's that surrounds but your earth. I am not a human being. but a spirit and a demon from the hottest hell. And what your Orlandians and your foolish police call the Axeman. Well, I see fit I shall come and claim other victims. I allow I
I
alone
alone.
know whom they shall be. I shall have she leave no clues except my bloody axe. What's that?
Besmeared.
The smear basically covered with blood and brains, of whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish, you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a respectable spirit. I take no offence at the way they have con- conducted their investigation in the past. In fact, they have been so what's that?
They have
Utterly
been so
stupid
utterly.
as to not only assume me, but what's that?
To not only assume me, but his satanic majesty, Francis Joseph, etc.
But tell them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it were better that they were never born than to encounter the wrath of the Axeman. I don't think there is any need of much warning, for I feel such the police will always dodge me, as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly, Orlanders, whatever they're called, think of me as a most horrible murderer, but I could be much worse. I wanted to be. If I wish, I could pay a visit to your town every night at will. I could slay thousands of your best civilians, for I am in close relationship with the angel of death. Now to be its what's that expect at 12:15 Earth time next Tuesday night. I am going to pass over New Orleans in my infinite
Mercy.
mercy. I'm going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all of the devils in the other. Is that realm? What?
Um,
Neither.
in the nether regions.
That's it. They that and every person shall be spared in whom house a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If anyone has a jazz band going, well, then such much is better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is that some of you people who do not like jazz is out on that specific Tuesday night. If they brackets, if there be any, will get axed. Will get the axe. As I am cold and crave the warmth of the negative to what's that?
Native Tartarus.
Yep. And it is about time I leave your earthly home. I will cause my what's that discord?
I
What?
will cease my discourse.
That's it, discourse. No, not Discord or discourse. Hoping that they will publish this, that it may go well with the. I have been I have been and will be the worst spirit that ever exists, either in facts or realm of or fantasy. So that's the letter the Axeman sent the police. So now the suspects.
Crime writer Colin Wilson speculates the Axeman could have been Joseph Monfrey, a man shot to death in Los Angeles in December 1920 by the widow of Mike Pepitone, the Axeman's last known victim. Wilson's theory has been widely repeated on other true crime books and websites. However, true crime writer Michael Newton searched the New Orleans and Los Angeles public, police, and court records, as well as newspaper archives, and failed to find any evidence of the man with the name Joseph Momfrey or a similar name having been assaulted or killed in Los Angeles. Newton also was not able to find any information that Miss Pepitone, identified in some sources as Esther Albano, and in others simply as the woman who claimed to be Pepitone's widow, was arrested, tried, or convicted for such a crime, or indeed had been in California. Newton notes that Momfrey is not an unusual surname in New Orleans at the time of the crimes. It appears that there actually may have been individuals named Joseph Mumfrey or Momfrey in New Orleans who had a criminal history and who may have been connected with organized crime. However, local records of the period are not extensive enough to allow confirmation of this or to positively identify the individuals. Wilson's explanation is an urban legend, and there is no more evidence now on the identity of the killer than there was at the time of the crimes. Two of the alleged early victims of the Axeman, an Italian couple named Sciambra,
I wouldn't even try to read that.
were shot by an intruder in their lower Ninth Ward home in the early hours of the morning, May 16, 1912. The male Sciambra survived while his wife died. In newspaper accounts, the prime suspect is referred to by the name of Mumfrey more than once. While radically different than the Axeman's usual modus operandi.
Modus. Yeah.
If Joseph Mumfrey was indeed the Axeman, the Sciambras may well have been early victims of the future serial killer.
Wait, so they're saying that there's murders back in 1912, what could have been the Axeman, but not the Axeman at the time.
Right.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to read that last word. Sorry, that last line. But now, the victims. Sorry, you're going to read it all?
No, you
sorry,
go.
I thought you were going to read it. I thought, shit, I'm interrupting you. So, the victims. There are 12 victims. The first victim, or victims, were Joseph McGonoy and Catherine, basically husband and wife. Is Deacon gone? I know still here. Went very quiet. Joseph was an Italian grocer, and his wife Catherine were attacked on May 23rd, 1918, whilst sleeping alone alongside each other, in the home in the corner of Upper Lane and Magnolia Streets, where they they conducted a borrow and the killer broke into the house and they proceeded to cut the couple's throats with a straight razor. Upon leaving, he bashed their heads in with an axe. Theories in order to conceal the real cause of death. Joseph survives the attack. Wow.
Damn.
But dies minutes after being discovered by his brother. That is something. surviving the throat being cut and bushed in. Joseph and Andrew in the apartment law F what?
Law enforcement.
Now law enforcement asset. A agents found the bloody clothes of the murderer as he had obviously changed into clean set of clothes before fleeing the scene. A complete search of the premises was not completed by police after the bodies were removed, yet later the bloody razor was found in the lawn of a neighbour's property. Police ruled out robbery as a motive for the attack, as money and valuables left in plain sight were not stolen by the intruder. The razor used to razors to kill the couple were found to belong to Andrew Man,
Maggio.
the brother of the deceased, who conducted basically owned a barber shop on Kemp Street. His employee Esteban told police that I at joining apartment to his brother resident discovered his slain brother and sister-in-law. What's that?
What? Where were you?
Sister-in-law wrote that 2 hours after the gruesome attack had occurred. So wait there, so the bodies got found 2 hours after the attack.
Yep.
So he survived. So Joseph survived 2 hours after the attack. Then
And then died after his brother found him.
minutes after, yeah. Upon hearing strange groaning noises through the wall.
Bro, imagine you're like chilling in your apartment, and then all of a sudden you just hear through the wall.
Yeah. That person blamed his failure to hear any noises relating to the attack that had occurred in early hours in the morning on his intoxicated state as he had returned home after a night celebration period of his
Departure
to join the Navy. Police, however, were nonetheless surprised that his failure to hear intruder as he made a
forced entry.
Forced entry into the house. Andrew became the police sheriff prime suspect in the crime, yet was released after investigations were unable to break down his statement, as well as his amount of an unknown man who was
supposedly
seen lurking near the residence prior to the murder. So, is it Catherine?
Catherine, yes, or Catherine.
Was the wife of Joseph. Her throat was cut so deep that her head was nearly severed. Wow.
Ugh.
From her shoulders. Unlike Joseph, Catherine did not survive long after the attack. If at all, and dead before her husband's brother found them. So now here is the next two victims.
Okay. Oh, these are long.
You just read one, and I'll read the other.
Nah, I think I'll just read like the important parts.
Yeah.
Louis Bezimer and his mistress. Oh, okay. I only need to read one because they were together. Okay. Louis Bessemer and his
Oh, yeah,
mistress
yeah.
Harriet Lowe were attacked in the early morning hours of June 27th, 1918, in the quarters at the back of his grocery. Did they all own grocery stores?
I don't fucking know. Actually, you read that, and I'll read numbers. I'll read part number 5 in my head. Go on, you carry on.
Okay. In the back of his grocery store, which was located at the corner of Doringenis and La Harpe Streets. Bessemer was struck with a hatchet above his right temple, which resulted in a possible skull fracture. Lowe was then hacked over the left ear and found unconscious when police arrived at the scene. The couple was discovered shortly after 7 a.m. on the morning of the attack by John Zanka, a driver of a bakery wagon who had come to the grocery in order to make a routine delivery. Zanka found both Bessemer and Lowe in a puddle of their own blood, both bleeding from the heads.
Lovely.
The axe, which had belonged to Bessemer himself, was found in the bathroom of the apartment. Bessemer later stated to police that he'd been sleeping when he was bashed with the hatchet. Almost immediately, police arrested potential suspect Louis Obicon, a then
Omicron?
for
What, Omicron?
Obicon.
What, Omicron?
Oh my God, Omicron! He killed them. A then 41-year-old African American man who had been employed in Bessemer's store just a week before the attacks.
Where are you? I'm trying to
No
find the
evidence
document.
existed which would have proved the man guilty, yet police arrested him nonetheless. Systemic racism. Stating that Obicon had offered conflicting accounts of his whereabouts on the morning of the attack.
Oh, God. This is how more and more like COVID by the minute.
Yes. Shortly after the attempted murder, Lowe stated that she remembered having been attacked by a mulatto man, yet her statement was discounted by police due to her disillusioned state. Robbery was said to be the only possible explanation for the attacks, yet no money or valuables were removed from the home. Omicron was later released as police were unable
You're
to
reading
get
this as Omicron on purpose, aren't you?
Yep. To hold him accountable for the crimes. Media attention soon turned to Bessemer himself as a series of letters written in German, Russian, and Yiddish were discovered in a trunk of the man's house. Police suspected that Bessemer was a German spy.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, your turn.
Was this hard? Someone low.
No, we don't need to read her because everything there is to read about her was in the last part too.
Oh, so now it's Anna
Schneider.
What, like Rob?
Yep.
Rod Schneider. Now, I don't think this person owned a grocery store. I don't think this person did, but it's really fucked up because I'm about to read something that's going to sound really disturbing.
Her husband owned a grocery store. I'm joking.
Oh my God.
No, but that'd be funny. That'd be funny.
That would actually be a big coincidence. Imagine that, you kill like 100 victims and you don't know this, and all of them owned a grocery store.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
So Anna Schneider, a relative of Rob Schneider, no it wasn't, was attacked on the early evening.
Well, no, hold up, pause. She was pregnant.
I was getting onto this.
No. What if Rob Schneider's like one of her descendants?
Yeah, but I think the baby dies though, don't it?
Okay, then yeah, go ahead. Never mind.
It could actually be a relative of Rob Schneider because it could have been her brother had children who was Rob. Distant down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So Anna Schneider was attacked on the early evening hours of August 5th, 1918. The 8-month pregnant 24-year-old of something rather straight. Elmira, yep, awoke to find a dark figure standing over her. That must be creepy. That'd be scary.
I would just roll over and go back to sleep.
Want to say I'm pregnant, give birth, bitch. Help me give birth, bitch. And was bashed in the face repeatedly. Her scalp had been cut open. Wow. And her face was completely covered in blood. Mrs. Schneider was discovered after midnight by her husband, Ed Schneider, who was returning late from her work. Wait, so if he returned on time from work, he would have been there?
Probably.
Wow. Schneider claimed that she remembered nothing of the attack. Wait, she survived.
Shit. So
That
she
could be
then
what.
she then gave birth to a healthy baby girl 2 days after.
Fuck. Schneider claimed that she. Don't ruin the fucking thing!
Sorry.
Schneider claimed that she remembered nothing of the attack and gave birth to a healthy baby girl 2 days. 2 days after the incident, her husband told police that nothing was stolen from the house besides $6 or $7 uh, that had been in his wallet. The window and doors of the apartment appear to have not been forced open, and what's that?
Had forced open, and authorities came to the conclusion
That the woman was most likely attacked with a lamp that had been on a nearby table. James Gleason, yeah, who police said was an ex-convict, was arrested shortly after Schneider was found. That person, James, was later released due to a complete lack of evidence and stated that he originally ran from authorities because he had so often been arrested. Lead investigate Lead investigators began to publicly speculate that the attack was related to the previous incident involving them people, Bessemer and
people.
Magon. Those those four other people,
I
them
know, but you said them people.
people, yeah. Just amazing though that you get attacked, right?
Hmm.
You get brutally attacked. You get bashed over the head repeatedly, and the scalp is cut open. Basically, the hair, the skin on your
Yes.
skull was
Yes.
open, cut open, and you just casually give birth 2 days later.
Yeah, she got her priorities straight.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Joseph Romano was an elderly man living with his two nieces, Pauline and Mary Bruno. Oh, is that relation to Bruno Mars?
No.
But just remember, we do not talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
Oh no!
We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh
But
my god! I
it
wish
was my
it's.
wedding, it was our wedding.
Oh
And
fuck! I
there
wish I never
wasn't a
put him
cloud
down.
in the sky, no clouds allowed in the sky. Sorry, go
Oh
ahead.
fuck! I wish I never got him going now.
That's a good song. That's a really
It is
good song,
actually.
though.
Yeah, actually, is a good song. Yeah. Do you know me and Charlotte and her family watched isn't from Nicanto? Watched the whole movie a few days ago with her sister. It was good. So on August 10th, 1918, Pauline and Mary, not Bruno, we don't talk about him because it's not Bruno, awoke to the sound of a commotion in the adjoining room where their uncle resided. Upon entering the door, the sisters discovered that their uncle had taken a series of blows to the head, which resulted in two open cuts. The assailant was fleeing the scene as they arrived, yet a- the girls were able to distinguish that he was dark-skinned, heavy-set man who um, wore a dark suit and what's that?
Um,
Dark suit and slouched hat.
I'm
Romuno?
I'm an idiot. I'm looking at the wrong paragraph.
You stupid retard.
I'm looking over here.
Romano,
Where are you?
Romano, although seriously injured, was able to walk to the ambulance once it arrived. Yet he died 2 days later due to several head what's that? To several head trauma. So
Yeah.
he survived the injuries and he was able to walk to hospital. But unlike this other person who gave birth 2 days later, he died. I know.
He went.
He did. The home had been ransacked, yet no items were stolen from Romano and Bruno. What's that? No, not Bruno, no.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Found a bloody axe in the backyard and discovered that the panel on the back door had been, what's that? Chiseled away.
The Romano murder.
Created a state of extreme chaos in the city, with residents living in constant fear of an Axeman attack. The police what?
Probably reassured. I'm trying to find
Reassured received a
received.
slew of reports in which civilians claim to have seen an Axeman lurking in New Orleans neighborhood. A few men ever called to report that they have found axes in their backyard. John Dantules, yep, a investigation in 1911. The retired detective, uh, what's that?
Uh,
Retired detective.
I should probably stop looking away.
Yes, you should.
Hold up. Pause.
So, investigate in 1911. You're looking for
The
1911.
retired detective cited similarities.
In the manner by which the two sets of homicides have been committed, as reason to assume that they have been conducted by the same individual. That person described the potential killer as an individual of detailed personality who killed without motive. The type of individual person stated could very likely have been a normal, law-abiding citizen who was often overcome by an overwhelming desire to kill. He later went on to describe the killer as a real-life Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
You want me to take care of all the rest of them?
Yeah, because they're small, and half of them are the same relative, like 7, 8, and 9, the same relatives.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they got the same surname.
They probably went together. Okay. Charles Cortamagilla was an Italian immigrant. Hey, yo, it's CJ. Was an Italian immigrant who lived with his wife Rosie and their infant daughter Mary on the corner of Jefferson Avenue and the 2nd Street in Gritton, Louisiana, a New Orleans suburb. New Orleans. Across the Mississippi River. On the night of March 10th, 1919, screams were heard coming from the Cortamagilla residence. Grocery store, another one I told you.
Great stuff.
Orlando
Don't even try to read that.
Rushed across the street to investigate. Upon his arrival, Giordano noticed that Charles, his wife, and their daughter had all been attacked by an unknown intruder. Rosie stood in the doorway with a serious head wound, clutching her deceased. Holy shit!
God, you just reading this as you go.
Oh God! Charles lay on the floor, bleeding profusely. The couple was rushed to Charity Hospital, where it was discovered that both had suffered skull fractures. Nothing was stolen, but a panel on the back door had been chiseled away and a bloody axe was found on the back porch of the home. Charles was released 2 days later, while his wife remained in the care of doctors. Upon gaining full consciousness, Rosie made claims that Giordano and his 18-year-old son Frank were responsible for the attacks. Giordano, a 69-year-old man, was in too poor of health to commit crimes. Frank, more than 6 feet tall and weighing over 200 pounds, would have been too large to fit through the panel on the back door. Charles vehemently denied his wife's claims, yet police nonetheless arrested the two and charged them with the murder. The men would later be found guilty. Frank was sentenced to be hung, and his father to life in prison. Charles divorced his wife after the trial. Almost a year later, Rosie announced that she had falsely accused the two out of jealousy, and her statement was the only evidence against the Giordano's, and they were released from jail shortly thereafter.
So she was jealous, says, "You done the murder, Deacon, you done the murder," just out of jealousy. And then they were going to get hung?
She was like, "You did the murder," and Frank was like, "Listen, I'm sorry my tomatoes look better than yours. That doesn't mean you have to accuse me of murder."
That just, she should be hung for wasting police time and potentially murdering someone.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious, that's the way it should have been, because if they were going to be hung just because some woman said that, yep, they murdered me, tried to murder me, you should be bludgeoned by an axe, woman, again.
Okay, that's a little far.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? I think the way the justice system should be, if you poison someone and you kill them, you should be have the same dose of poison what you done to that person. If you survive, you survive. If you die, you die. Like if you smack someone over the head with an axe 10 times, with say found out force, someone should hit you over the head 10 times with the exact same axe with the exact same force 10 times.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on to another grocery store owner.
Oh God.
Steve Boca. Steve
Is it
Boca,
seriously?
a
Is it
grocer,
serious? Oh God.
was attacked in his bedroom as he slept by an accidental intruder on August 10th. That's one day after my birthday. Boca awoke during the night to find a dark figure looming over his bed. Upon regaining consciousness, Boca ran to the street to investigate the intrusion and found that his head had been cracked open.
Lovely.
The grocer ran to the home of his neighbor, Frank, where he then lost consciousness and collapsed. Nothing had been taken from the home, yet once again a panel on the back door had been chiseled away. And then when Boca recovered from his injuries, he could not remember any details of the trauma. The attack took place after the emergence of the infamous Axeman letter.
After the letter.
Sarah Lahman was attacked on the night of
Ramen?
September 3rd. Ramen, I love me some ramen. Was attacked on the night of September 3rd. Neighbors came to check on the young woman who had lived alone and broke into the house when Lahman did not answer. They discovered the 19-year-old lying unconscious on her bed, suffering from a severe head injury and missing several teeth. The intruder had entered the apartment through an open window and attacked the woman with a blunt object. A bloody axe was discovered on the front lawn of the building. Lahman recovered from her injuries, yet could not recall any details from the attack.
So basically got hit so hard she suffered from amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Mike Pepitone was attacked on the night
Is that
of
another
October.
Pepitone?
Yeah, the woman who they thought killed him.
Yeah, wait, I thought I've heard Pepitone before.
Mike Pepitone was attacked on the night of October 27th, 1919. His wife was awakened by a noise and arrived at the door of his... They didn't sleep in the same room? What?
Yeah, but that's not...
Arrived at the door of his bedroom just as a large axe-wielding man was fleeing the scene. Mike Pepitone had been struck in the head and was covered in his own blood. Blood spatter covered the majority of the room, including a painting of the Virgin Mary. Miss Pepitone, the mother of 6 children, was unable to describe any characteristics of the killer. The Pepitone murder was the last of the alleged Axeman attacks.
So, I'll just go put a disclaimer. No one has ever been formally arrested, but people have been arrested on suspicion of being the axe murder. No one has actually been arrested, and they don't know who done it. If you didn't know, the spree of crime was between May 23rd, 1918 to the October 27th, 1919, happening in the US and, funny enough, New Orleans. Anything else you want to say, Deacon?
Nah, we covered about everything.
Yeah, I find true crime like this really interesting to read about. You know? Is that odd to say? I find this really interesting.
I think being interested in it isn't bad, but when you talk about how cool killers are, that's when it starts getting weird.
Well, yeah, that killer was really cruel and everything.
There's a lot of people out there who seem to think it's okay to talk about how cool Ted Bundy is, but it's he's not cool.
Well,
he's a horrible person.
I like reading about Ted. Do you know things about Ted Bundy, Zodiac Killer, and things like that? And what's his name, DB Cooper?
Yeah, I like reading unsolved crimes and stuff, but I still don't think it's cool at all.
Trust me, me and Deacon are going to be reading about a lot of murders.
And then when it comes out that I murdered them, I'm joking.
What, you murdered someone? Is this an insult?
No,
Oh,
no,
you're Jack the Ripper. You Jack the Ripper, are you?
no, definitely not.
You were, first of all, you're a time traveler, and how old are you? Sorry.
I'm not
Oh,
a time traveler. For
You must
your
be fucking
information,
old.
I'm 216 years old. Get over it.
Okay. But anyway, do you know? Funny enough, I've just come off the Wikipedia page and come on to StreamYard. Funny enough, I said this video is going to be about 3/4 an hour long, and we've been recording for 40 minutes.
Wait, we have? Holy shit!
Yeah, yeah.
I,
We
I
still
I
got.
honestly thought it's been like 20 minutes.
I said it'd be like 11:15 when we finish. Do you know? We still got to record Weird Wikipedia Wednesday, haven't we?
Ugh.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that today?
I say we do that tomorrow.
Okay, fine with me. But anyway, that about does it for this video. As always, goodbye.
Hey yo, if you guys like model kits, come check out my stream like later this week. Peace out.
Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll ask a friend of mine to edit it into a short and I'll upload it to my channel.
Don't be stealing credit for my shit, man.
Hey.
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 What do you mean? What do you mean your shit? This is Russia. This is ours.
This is our sheet, yeah. This is the good sheet.
Communism, comrade.
But no, I'll ask a friend Alex to edit it into a format of short. But anyway, bye everybody.